Hey y'all, welcome to Kamira's Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you a 10-minute roll recipe that is absolutely delicious. This is a great recipe to make when you don't want to have to rise the dough and proof and do all this extra stuff, or when your oven is tied up, because we're going to be doing this on the stove top in a skillet. I serve this with the soup that you saw in my last video. Don't forget to click and check out that recipe. Like this video and subscribe if you are enjoying my content, and let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is weigh our flour. If you've been following my channel, you know I talk all the time about weighing flour because it's so accurate. So we're going to use 1.5 cups of flour. That weighs about 200 grams. All right, so we're at 208. That's just a little bit over, not really a big deal, but I'll kind of scoop out a little bit and that should take it down to about what we're looking for. One major reason for weighing out your flour is so that you can get the right measurement. A lot of people baked goods come out dry because they don't weigh their flour. We're at 201, that's close enough. Into the flour, I'm gonna add 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, as well as 1/2 tablespoon of baking powder. Very important you use baking powder and not baking soda. They are not the same. I'm going to sift the dry ingredients just to make sure everything gets mixed well and there ain't no lumps, okay, in that flour. We don't want no lumps in that flour, okay? Because we want everything nice and smooth. So I'm gonna take my sieve. I'm just gonna knock it against my hand, and that will knock out the lumps in the flour and start to mix everything. Now, of course, the brown sugar gonna try to act difficult. All right, don't worry about that. We're just gonna rub it right through that sieve, okay? And you do not have to use brown sugar. You can use white sugar. It really doesn't matter. You can even put in a little bit of honey. From here, this becomes like the easiest recipe, all right? So I'm just gonna stir this up to make sure everything is combined, and then I'm going to make a little well. Oftentimes when you are baking, you can use a little well to put your wet ingredients before you combine everything. Into the well, I'm going to add 4 teaspoons of vegetable oil, but olive oil will be fine. I know some of you guys don't like vegetable oil. And then I have 1/2 cup of milk. Now this is milk that doesn't seen a better day, okay? So it's okay for baking, but it's not okay for consumption, all right? Now I'm gonna start to gently mix this together. This is a very basic, very common bread recipe. I use this a lot when I want a quick roll. Now at some point the dough is going to get really thick and a little bit hard to mix. No problem, you're gonna go in there with your hands. Look, don't be afraid to touch your food, okay? You just wash your hands and then you can touch your food. Folks is bugging if they think you got to use gloves to do everything in a home kitchen. No, you do not, all right? So we're just gonna go in here and put all of this together, and I'm gonna knead this for about 2 to 3 minutes. That's about how long it's gonna take for everything to come together and for the dough to become smooth. This is how your dough should look. You can see that it's smooth. It's not really that sticky to the touch, all right? You should not need to add any flour or anything to this to let this come together. If you measure everything correctly, your dough will become just like this, all right? We're about to work this dough on this counter. And baby, let me tell you something. You got to clean your counter before you do that. All right, it is perfectly safe to mess with food on your counter, but you got to clean it. All right, I don't want them little crumbs and stuff in my bread. All right, and don't nobody else. Okay, your family gonna say, honey, I don't know what she was doing. Okay, but she ain't do it right. Okay, if they got crumbs in their bread, so you gotta wipe that counter off. All right, then I'm gonna sprinkle down just a tiny bit of flour. Okay, you do not need a lot. Don't get crazy with it. I'll take my dough, put that down. And then I'm gonna put a tiny bit of flour on the rolling pin. I'm gonna roll this dough out to about 1/2 of an inch thickness, which is kind of on the thick side. Tell me in the comments if you make your bread from scratch, all right? I just feel like homemade bread is really good, really delicious, y'all. Just some of the best, to be honest with you. I just think it's fantastic. That's pretty good. Okay, so it's not such a big circle, if you can see that. All right, but we want a thickness about this much. I'm going to show you guys that you do not need a biscuit cutter to do this. All right, because I know someone gonna say, I don't got a cookie cutter, I don't got a biscuit cutter. Check this out. This is a rim like for canning. You could also use like a rim of a jar. And I am going to just press straight down, and these will do it. All right. You may not have this, but you got something. All right. This recipe is so simple. I know that everyone can make it. Look at that. Got that circular cutout that we're looking for. Simple. Okay. Okay, we got 4. Now I'm going to put the dough together, and I'm going to roll this out again. And I'm going to get some more out of whatever's left of the dough. It don't matter if the roll is ugly. It's still going to taste good, all right? Is you looking for it to be cute, or do you want to eat? Okay, that's close enough. Push this out. Okay. And then I'm gonna get probably my last cute one. Cute enough. All right, that'll work. And then this one gonna turn out rough, but I'm just gonna form it into the shape and it will still work. See, something like this, okay, that's good enough. I have my skillet on like a 2. So this is really low on an electric stove. You don't want it up too high. I'm gonna add in my bread, and these are going to be cooking for about 5 minutes covered. Now, it's more ideal if you have a skillet that has a clear top. However, mine is not clear. Okay, so I'm just gonna deal with that and just check it from time to time. Let me know if you've ever made a recipe like this. This recipe is super old. Like my grandmother even made these like in the 50s. You know, lots of people make these all over the world. Let me know if you ever make skillet bread. All right, it's been about 6 minutes for me. My skillet wasn't too warm, so it needed a little extra time. What you're gonna see is that it's gonna start to puff up, as you can see here, and we wanna see that the bottom is a little bit brown. So let's check on one of them to see where we're at. Okay, see there's a little brownness here. Almost want it to be a touch browner, so I'm gonna check the middle one. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, let me show you. This is kind of what you want right here. That's when you know you can flip them. I'm gonna cover this and let this go for another 3 to 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes. Okay, these are getting nice and fluffy. As you can see, they are rising. However, I want this to be like a little bit more brown. Now look, if you ain't got kitchen calluses, don't do this. But I'm just gonna flip them with my hand, all right? That's brown enough on that side, but the other side, look, I like my stuff to be brown. Okay, do y'all hear me? All right, so I'm just gonna flip these and let these go for about another minute. If yours is brown enough, you don't have to do this, but you know, you just do what works for you. It's been 1 minute. Let's see how brown they are, okay? All right, that looks good. Okay, that one's browned up a bit. All right, that looks good. Now I'm gonna take these out. Now really, I could just grab these and take them out. You know what I'm saying? If you a Hispanic mom, I know you know what I'm talking about. Y'all be flipping that tortilla, okay, with your bare hands. But see, I'm gonna try to show something right for the children. Okay, y'all use that spatula. Okay, if you ain't experienced, if you ain't built up that resistance, then you go ahead and use that spatula and get these babies out. Y'all, doesn't this bread look so good? Okay, so I'm gonna cut into one of them just to show you how legit this is, all right? You know what? I can even cut into the ugly one just to show y'all even the ugly one tastes good, okay? It's beat up, but it's still got to be good, okay? Maybe a lot of bit of butter, okay? Don't let nobody tell you what to do. And then I'm also going to add some of my carrot cake jam. Did y'all make my carrot cake jam? If you haven't, go check out that recipe. Now, y'all, let's see what this bread talking about, okay? Y'all see a rolls here. They push down and they spring back up. That's how you're gonna know they are done. Now, if you wanna rise no dough, okay, you can make this in the skillet in 10 minutes, all right? Quick and done. This is mine here with the butter. Y'all, that butter, that jelly, that set this roll off. Let me know if you're going to try this recipe. I'll see you next time in Kamira's Kitchen. Goodbye and God bless.